All right. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. Um, we're incredibly excited about our fourth year in Division One at St. Thomas. This is, I think, a really critical year for us in so many ways, and obviously with the backdrop, and we'll talk about the arena um, a little bit later. But I think what we've been able to accomplish the first 3 years is really reflective of our institution, of our leadership. From Phil Eston, our VP of Athletics, I think he's been adamant throughout this transition about how we compete, comprehensive excellence, the types of teams that we want to put out on the court, and I think we've worked really, really hard to do that. Thrilled to have 19 and 20 wins the past 2 seasons. I think we're the first team in the last 25 years transitioning to Division One to do that. And all the quantitative numbers are great, but frankly, I think it's more the qualitative experience that we've been able to provide our guys, the fan support. We're just so thrilled by what's going on here at St. Thomas, and obviously there's a very bright future. But as we look at year four, I think we have a cast of newcomers: 5 true freshmen, 4 redshirt freshmen, 3 transfers. So over 16 guys on the roster, only 5 have ever played a minute of basketball on the court at St. Thomas. Clearly that means culture and continuity is really important. How do we sort of transmit the culture that we've had here for so long? How do we get the young guys up to speed and play St. Thomas basketball? And that's a process. We're early in the season. 2 weeks from today we open up. But really, really love the energy of these guys, how they compete together, and could not be more excited for this season of basketball.
Coach, you talked about your returning starters and talked about all the newcomers, so how important it would be for them to teach the St. Thomas way.
Yeah. Drake Dobbs and Kendall Blue both started last year. Carter Bjerke, Ben Now, and Ryan Dufall played critical roles off the bench. And I think those 5 have done a tremendous job, not just this fall, but throughout the course of the summer. In fact, that was when we talked this summer, we really had 3 goals, and one was culture and continuity, and that was number 1. 2, we talked a lot about skill development and how do they individually get better. 3 is learning the system, the terminology. But frankly, if the first 2 fall into place, the third part is much easier. And so I think those guys have done a really good job. Drake and Kendall, and really all 5 of those guys, understand what we value. They've all played a huge role in our success, and yet each one of them can point to different spots in their career where they've had bumps in the road and learning experiences, and I think they can speak to how we've stuck with them, how they've believed in the program, and where they're at today. I think is really a testament to that. So those other 11 guys are learning every day from our 5, and certainly at the conclusion of the season, you hope all 16 of them feel maybe not in the identical spot, but in a really, really good spot together.
Can you talk about Kendall and then Drake, just how both of them going into this year, probably playing their best basketball?
Yeah, Kendall's a kid who started most of his first 2 years for us, which was really not common in college basketball. And so he was thrown into a lot his freshman year. You think back to that season, and he's adapted so well. The thing that I love about Kendall, and there are a lot of things to love about him, but he's so easy to play with. He's really cerebral on the court. He knows our system as well as anybody. He's an unbelievable passer, and not just unbelievable, but a very willing passer. He's certainly a capable scorer, but when I look at Kendall, if there's anything I'd like him to do, it's probably be a little more assertive in the scoring column, but that's a good thing to have to ask a young man to do more of. I also thought he came really far in his defensive effort last year. About midway through last year at Western Michigan, he really started understanding, I think, our scheme and just how hard you have to play at the college level. I think it's easy for people to forget, an 18-year-old in high school who's prodigiously talented is going against 16 and 17-year-olds, and 6 months later, that 18-year-old's still 18 or 19, and now they're going against 22, 23, 24-year-olds. That's a huge transition, and I think Kendall has handled it really, really well. Drake last year at the point guard spot, I thought was such a steady influence. I thought he was the best defender in the conference. I'm admittedly biased, but I just thought every night the assignments we gave him, it wasn't always a point guard. It was just, can you go out and make this guy's life difficult? And Drake did that. He turned the ball over only 25 times in 33 games, which is one of the lowest anywhere in the country. 82 assists, 25 turnovers, and he also scored about 10 points a game, which I think gets overlooked, that he contributed, especially later in the year, in that way as well. So both he and Kendall, I think, really embody our culture, their unselfishness, team-first attitude. They're really good people. You talk to them off the court, they're down to earth and they're humble. And so we're really excited. Both of those guys, I think, are going to have great years.
Coach, can you sum up what you think this facility going behind you is going to mean for this?
Yeah, this is, I mean, you look at it, it's inspiring. You're awestruck, honestly, when I walk by here a lot of days because, you know, first and foremost, the generosity of Lee and Penny Anderson. When you think about what they did at our facility, the ARC and also the Student Center back in 2010 and 2011, and now to spearhead this, there's not enough ways to say thank you, but for them to give that type of gift, I think reflects their belief in not just St. Thomas basketball, hockey, athletics, but the institution as a whole. So every day I walk by there, to me, and my kids know this, it's like, okay, hopefully we'll be in a spot. I don't think we're going to give $75 million someday, but to do something that you're passionate about that means something. When I think about the work behind the scenes, Ben Frazier and his team in development, Corey Chapman, who's doing a lot of this and is our sport administrator, and then obviously Dr. Eston, I think what they've been able to do through this 3+ years is really masterful, because you think about juggling this transition during the world of NIL, the transfer portal, 21 sports, new buildings. It's really, really inspiring, and I have no doubt that recruits, when they walk past here, they stop and they're kind of blown away, like, hold on a second. You guys were Division III 3 years ago, and this is happening already, and you've won this many games, and you have these guys coming back. And we don't take anything for granted, right? This is not going to gift us anything other than another unbelievable opportunity, but I do believe it's going to be as nice a facility as anywhere in the country. It's not going to be the biggest. It's going to seat about 5,300 for basketball, which is perfect. But when you think about the state-of-the-art, the training facilities, locker room, lounge, film room, everything, all those amenities, and I think it's going to support, it's bookended by the Schoenecker Center, which is a STEAM building here. You think about this side of campus, and this is probably dating myself, but when I graduated here in '95, this side of campus was, I don't know what, I'm not going to say it was farmland, but none of this stuff was here. And I look now, and a lot of our guys are going to take their science and their engineering and their math classes and their art classes here, and they'll be behind me during a large part of the day. So you can probably hear in my voice. I love our current place. I mean, don't get me wrong, where we're playing right now has been very, very good to us, but I think this is going to be another one of those landmark moments for us in this journey in Division I athletics.
Thank you very much for being here. It's exciting. We have already begun our season. We had our first close scrimmage, and so the possibilities are endless. You know how this time of the season is. Everybody's undefeated, so there's hope, there's optimism, and there's a lot to be excited about. If you take a look 4 years ago, we had a group of freshmen that came in. We built this very organically. They were our biggest group coming through. And so they learned what it's like to have a D1 lifestyle, what it's like to compete in the Summit League, and what it takes to really be consistent. Since that time, they have learned their second year and their sophomores, their juniors, and now we have an experienced group coming through. If you take a look at our roster, we have 6 seniors. It's pretty impressive at these times with the transfer portal. These 6 have stayed connected through all 4 years. But what's more enjoyable to watch is just their understanding and their ownership of the program. They made a commitment to St. Thomas that they wanted to build something special. They wanted to be on the foundational, framework to make something special here, and they've really done it. This past summer, we had an opportunity to go to Rome, Italy, and all over Italy. In that time, we got to have 2 games against the Italian professional teams. Through those games, we got a glimmer of what's to come, and we are really excited about what we've seen on the court.
Coach, can you talk about your 2 returning guards, Jade and Amber? Obviously, last year was a big step up for Amber, and then Jade's kind of been doing her thing since her freshman year. But talk about what that your backcourt pair means.
I'll start with Jade. I mean, if you take a look at Jade, it's a lot to ask as a freshman to come in and to start and start at the point guard position, because the point guard position has got to be the position that is dictating, that's getting the ball where, how to initiate the offense, and she's done that so incredibly well. If you also look a little bit deeper in, she's always had the top defensive assignment. So we have not been very nice to Jade in that we've right away asked a lot of her, but she has responded incredibly, and so proud of her. Not only for what she does on the court, but for the person she is off the court. She epitomizes everything we talk here about St. Thomas, about character, academic excellence, and then her ability to really give back. So Jade is doing a great job. And you see, as she's been going, the consistency in her game and just how she's been able to lead as well. Amber is another great success story. We knew what Amber could do her senior year. A lot of people don't know this about Amber, but Amber is tough, tough, tough. Her senior year at Stillwater, she broke her hand. Doctor wanted her out for about probably 2 months. It got to be about 3 weeks, and the doctor said, well, you could go back. I'm in. So as her college coach, I'm like, don't go back. But she wanted to make sure that she was serving her team. We saw a little bit of that her freshman year. We saw a lot of that her sophomore year. And she is just taking steps and steps and steps in realizing that she can be unstoppable. She really is. Again, I'm going to go to the defensive end. I think she led us in charges taken. So the fun thing about both these young ladies, it's both sides of the ball. And we're excited about where they can take that next step.
Sure. You have 3 of your top scorers returning. In the world of the transfer portal, like, that's kind of unheard of, you know? I mean, even for the Summit League, can you talk about just their commitment to this program? And obviously, they probably maybe heard from some people that you should go here or there, but they stayed at St. Thomas. What does that mean?
There's no question. You talk about Joe Langman. She led the nation in field goal percentage this past year. And, but they're committed to more than just the transactional, event of basketball. They're committed to having an experience that's going to last them a lifetime. I think that's the beauty here of St. Thomas. Our administration, from our president to our AD, they talk about comprehensive excellence. They talk about, this idea of how do we give and we serve our community. And that's what these young ladies are about. We all know that they will not be able to qualify for postseason play. The conference tournament is our Super Bowl right now. But in that time, it wasn't about that. It was about creating something special. Samuel Pitchka, Phoebe Frenzel, Gabby Johnson. They've just been incredible stewards of our program, of continuing to serve our program and put the best foot forward.
What's going up behind you, your excitement level? Your thoughts about what you've seen so far?
We are so blessed and so grateful. We got a chance to walk through that facility, and it was amazing. The neat thing about it is it's going to provide opportunities for our student athletes, for our women's basketball players, just to come together. Right now, they love this game. They love getting in. We're going to have our own gym to be able to come in and shoot any time. They're going to have a players' lounge where that they can just really hang out. They can study. They can just watch Netflix, whatever they want to do. But the fun part of it is this is going to be their home away from home. And so we can't wait. Not to mention, I think, as we start building a community to support us, I think there's going to be a lot of energy on this campus. And this facility is really going to help support that and encourage that.
4 years now with the reclassification, ban on postseason starting to get closer to being over, and as you guys have become more and more successful, how has that changed? What kind of players are looking at St. Thomas?
No, that's the enjoyable part of this is I think we are becoming more and more ideal, for the right individual. As coach, and I know Johnny will talk about the same thing, we're not gonna compromise our standards as far as character, as far as classroom and academics and things like that. And so as we got on the recruiting trail, we're very mindful of the right kind of individual that would love to be St. Thomas, would represent us well. But with that being said, there is a greater interest in St. Thomas and what we can accomplish. We keep talking about the vision, and I think you're seeing a little bit come to fruition, but there's another step with that. And so the young ladies that we're visiting with, they get to be the next step. Is these young ladies laid the foundation, but then they get to take it into the national scene as well with that.